Hello, this is Tony Smario. It's coming to you from my father, BroSal.org YouTube channel. And this is Think or Swim. Because I find that we're at a time when there's nothing left out there. If your brain can't, if you don't have a foundation for which to sort out all this crap that's on the internet, well, then you're going to be led into 100 different holes. And so I'm just want to do a series right now to get out there some thoughts on different topics that I've come across that just don't warrant an hour of conversation, but should be mentioned so there can at least be a poster out there for people who are interested in the topic. So this first one, Think or Swim, about North Korea. Are they going to cause World War III? I doubt it. From an eschatological standpoint, we're looking for something completely different. From the worldly standpoint of Albert Pike's prediction of 3 world wars, you know, it starts over the Zionists and Islam are brought together, and also the atheists and the religious people. So in that sense, they're part of that bigger team that will have to come in. Remember, they've been funded to be who they are. So when you say North Korea, they're not an independent actor any more than China or Russia, in the sense that the red team, blue team paradigm is, you know, in clear operation. It's easily observed that this whole unbroken chain from the bankers 100 years ago that finally got their way after 200 years in America, funded all of this revolution in Russia, funded the banks in Russia, funded the industry in Russia, funded the military in Russia, funded the takeover of General Mao, funded all of the technological industry after Mao finished his reign of terror. You know, one of the greatest genocides. I never speak of it. You know, that's how hidden it's been. That it's taken me all my life to, you know, to go from the overly propagandized Jewish genocide, or whatever the Holocaust actually was, to finally realize the overlooked genocide of the Ukrainian Christians and the whole Orthodox Christianity for 100 years, Armenian genocide and such. But then, of course, to also remember that the genocide continued on through to just so many people everywhere. It's just like this endless genocide after genocide, and the Cambodians, and, you know, all this sort of thing. So General Mao was there to create one of the greatest genocides ever. And following General Mao's death, the 8, you know, families, the eternal ones, or whatever they call them, they all shook hands with the American bankers and industrialists and turned China into, you know, a partner in crime behind the scenes. So all the people are sold out, but behind the scenes, they're all partners. So North Korea, you know, gets all their weapons from Russia, gets all their support through Russia. So they're part of that red team paradigm, and they will be played at exactly their right time. You know, when you look at on the surface of the story, it's the ridiculousness of the surface level story. You know, not just because they show us the same 6 photos of Kim Jong-un waving or laughing with his generals. They show us the same 6 photos of missiles going off, we don't know where, we don't know what. Just because everything that's got to do with North Korea is an obvious stock footage Hollywood type reporting. In other words, where's the journalism? Where's the Woodward and Bernstein digging up any real dirt that undermines what we know as the obvious propaganda? You know, nothing like that. Just strict line of propaganda, which means it's an important line of propaganda. There will be no actual journalism about North Korea, just like there'll be no actual journalism about 9/11. You either talk about 9/11 as a terrorist attack, Islamic terrorism, hijackers, airplanes. You talk about it like that, you might have a career. You start talking about inside job, where was Cheney, why were we running drills that day, how do buildings just turn to dust and fall in their own footprint, and how did exactly did Al-Qaeda pull that off? You don't go anywhere in this business. So same way with North Korea, obviously. There's just I can't find a peep about who this guy is and how he connects. Where's the chain of events that have gone on from World War II to then the Korean War, to go take this area over, to divide it up, to get Russia supplying North Korea and America supplying South Korea, and create, obviously, this pressure point for the future. There's no doubt in my mind that was already in the strategy. So, that's more my picture of it. And on the surface now, you've got, all this America, Canada, Australia, your usual suspects in their mainstream media talking about how North Korea is this obvious threat and the world, and we got to stop it, and we're all got to stand together. But China and Russia, well, of course, they would just be oblivious to it. They don't care. Plays into their favor to start World War III, right? Let's get some nuclear weapons flying around the world. That's good for everybody, right? No journalism on how come China and Russia don't see the obviousness of the threat of North Korea that America, Canada, and Australia see. I mean, we see that ISIS is a threat. Oh boy, we all agree, Russia and America trying to work together for years to stop ISIS. But North Korea's, from our perspective, NATO, America, the great intelligence industry that we are, tells you that without the shadow of a doubt, they are threatening the world, they are dangerous, they are unpredictable, he's a maniac, all these things. China and Russia say, not so. I mean, too bad, huh? Nobody can agree. We can agree on ISIS, but can't agree that North Korea actually is a nuclear threat, or what the threat is. Why are we so sure and they're not so sure? Does that make any sense in a world trying not to lob nuclear weapons at each other, where that isn't the plan? When you look at North Korea compared to Iraq, 20, 30 years ago, from 30 years ago up until Iraq was destroyed, with Saddam Hussein sent in there to fight Iran. Look at those two forces militarily, the number of the zealousness of the armies to confront on that scale for years. Chemical weapons. In other words, the real carnal war that went on between Iran and Iraq, sponsored by America and the bankers for all those years. Nothing like North Korea hasn't been through anything like that since the war in the 50s. Saddam Hussein was getting, they were getting all the modern stuff from America to go fight Iran, just like we're saying North Korea is getting this stuff from Russia or China. But, is North Korea got anything like what Iran was set up with? Iraq to fight Iran for how many years, and wars that went on for how many years, and how hard was it to take out Iraq and Iraq's arsenal? What'd that take? And if Iraq or Iran ever would have threatened nuclear, we're going to go nuclear, did anybody allow that? So, all of this, when you compare Saddam Hussein, who didn't have nukes, what a danger he was, how easy it was to knock him out, and you got Kim Jong-un, who's got nukes, and for years now he's been threatening for years, and so it all just looks like false flag to me. So I think North Korea, don't be sucked into their red team, blue team paradigm. Understand that North Korea is some sort of pressure point, some sort of trigger there, and it will be used in its time, no doubt about it. So think or swim, guys. Think or swim.